Okay. Hi, Ebony.
Hi there, Yabo. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm good. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
So congratulations to you on being elected as a member of the elected school board for CPS. History is being made, and I'm proud to be part of that. As someone who has been working with you for about 6 years now, right? 6 years with the parent mentor program. So I'm proud of you. I'm proud of the accomplishments, and I'm happy to be, to know you, to know the first person, one of the first people that make history in this at this time, in Chicago Public School. So let's get into why we are here. You want to introduce yourself first?
Oh, sure. Thank you for that introduction. I appreciate you saying that. I'm so proud of us, all the communities we've built, over the time we've had together and outside of that time, I'm a community person, and I know that everything I do is with the help of people that support me. And so the Parent Mentor Program is a huge example of mentorship, of growth, of trying new things, of supporting each other. And so it felt like a very natural step for me to enlarge my community and be a supportive force in the community. So I'm Ebony DeBerry. I am a lifelong Rogers Parker. I attended Chicago Public Schools, neighborhood schools that I could walk to. I graduated from Sullivan High School. I was a teacher at the beginning of my career. I really love that work. I know how hard that work is. I raised my child in the public school system. He went to Disney Magnet and Northside College Prep. And I know how essential parent participation is for the best outcomes for our children. All my kids' teachers knew that I would show up if they needed me. If they needed me for a field trip or some materials for their class, I was going to be there. That's a very sacred partnership, because this is where our children spend their lives, either at school or at home. And we can influence all kinds of attitudes and behaviors and values in that time. So that's super important to me.
Oh, thank you, everybody. That's so wonderful. Um, so, can you tell us a little bit of how you get involved with the parent mentor program?
Yes, so I am an organizer at One Northside. I do the education work there, and I was offered an expansion in the program. I had heard that we had the parent mentor program on the North Side before, but some money was cut and we lost it. And I saw it as a huge opportunity to engage. I already knew the value of having a parent in the school, in the classroom. And so I jumped on the opportunity to start with one school. I believe it was Greeley was our first school, and the principal understood the program. So that made it so easy. There were already parents volunteering in that school. So I was just winning, winning, winning. And that gave me so much fuel. It really energized me to see that the students were growing, the teachers were appreciative and felt supported, and that the parents felt valuable in our system, not only to their own families, but now to the whole community. They belong to the school and they belong to the community. And it was just such a wonderful feeling.
I know. Thank you. So I know in the beginning you talk a little bit about being a CPS graduate yourself, and your son went to CPS. That means this is where your heart is, right? You're connected to this. Can you share a little more about the work of the parent mentor and how that connects, to you in just being a student yourself or your child being a student, like the work we are doing right now that you are a part of, how does that connect to your heart?
I still am involved with my elementary school that I attended because I have a parent mentor program there. I get to visit there. I get to walk those halls and have meetings in a classroom that I was once a student in. I think that is a beautiful continuity. It just is a reminder. I remember having parents in the school when I was a student there. Miss Jones, one of my classmates, her mother was there, and she would get into trouble and her mother would come and get her like that, that would happen. So I feel very grateful for the experience of knowing what it's like to be a student, what it's like to be a teacher, what it's like to be a parent, how it feels to be a parent volunteer in a school. I've done that. And so really it's win-win-win. Principals are so grateful, teachers are grateful, parents are grateful, and our students are gaining. I love that the program is very specific about mentors being one-on-one or in small groups of students, because all of our students need to be seen and acknowledged, and, and they need to have trusted adults in their lives. Parents can't do it on their own. I know. Excuse me. I know I couldn't do it on my own. And so I had lots of lovely teachers and community folks telling my kid that he was worthy, that he was beautiful, that he was brilliant. And we all need that. I get to work around that vibe all the time, and it's very rewarding. I get to see parents, challenging themselves and saying, what else can I do? I get to see administrators seeing our parents as potential employees. It's just very rewarding. It's something we've always needed.
Take your time. Okay. You need to drink some water. Okay, sure.
I'm okay. The water's on its way.
Okay. So, yeah, all of that is said beautifully. I'm just wondering, like maybe I want you to highlight a little bit of what it was like when you were a student. Even though there were volunteers, you see moms coming, and compare that with like this developmental program, intentional way that you mentioned of working with students. I was a volunteer mom myself, but most of the time, volunteer moms go on field trip or just help around the school. Compare that to like this parental program structure of you have to be in the classroom helping teachers and students with academics. Can you say a little more about that, like what you experienced?
I hear from parents that, they were able to de-escalate an emotional breakdown or a tantrum because the child felt connected to them and no one else could calm them down. I hear stories of parents engaging with a student that speaks another language and the teacher cannot respond to that situation on their own. And I hear from parents that they feel much more is possible for them through these exchanges. They've not thought of themselves as teachers before. They've not thought of themselves as tutors, as mentors before. I see the parents engaging each other with ideas and resources and supports for each other. And so there's so many opportunities for growth. And, overwhelmingly, it's women of color, women like me, single mothers. Most of us live in paycheck to paycheck. We have so much in common. Most of us come from all parts of the world, but together we recognize that we have so much more in common than we have dividing us. And it's a beautiful intermingling of culture, of value systems. everyone associated with the program is kind, is lovely, is generous, everyone. From the mentor all the way up to the people that run the program. I've not met someone in this program that I'm just like, oh, I don't like them. That's not going to happen. We share a dynamic value for our community, for our families, for other people's children that cannot be removed. And if someone gets involved with this program for the wrong reasons, they won't last, right? Because it's hard work, it's heart work, and it's hard. You're connected to people that are struggling. They're sharing their hopes and dreams and hurt with you. And so you really have to gird yourself up for that. You have to have community to support you because you're supporting so many others. And I just don't know of any other work that is like that work. It is the brainchild of parents, right? I think that makes a huge deal.
Yeah,
People
absolutely.
closest to the problems have the answers.
To the problem, right?
Trust
Yeah.
them always.
Right. Thank you so much, Ebony, for that. Yeah. So, and I know you mentioned a lot of community building. So my next question is about, you and your team from One Northside, all of the coordinators, the amazing parents. You do a lot of organizing beyond the classroom. Can you tell us a little more about that? Like the kind of work you do to build your community?
Oh my goodness. It varies. It's from big to small. In individual schools, we see mutual aid concerns. If a parent is going without, there's another parent trying to match that resource for them. We see parents volunteering to feed families through different programs. We see parents organizing meetings with elected officials to make sure that their needs are heard. We see parents phone banking for all kinds of issues and values in different languages. There's just so much opportunity to heal our communities. And the people I work with are some of the kindest, most generous, most innovative people I've ever known. They are problem solvers to their core, and they do everything with love. So I forgot the question, Iyabo. I'm sorry.
No, you are on point. You are talking about how all of the organizing activity that you and your group have been involved in through this program.
Yeah, they put on teacher appreciation. They do the whole thing. Okay, they just take over. They're trusted by their principals to lead in any way they want, and they feel so connected. By leading, by having so much skin in the game. They're so respected. They're leaders in the community. Everybody recognizes that people follow them, people trust them. There's so much integrity involved with these mothers that are trying to make the next generation better for all of us. Not just their children, but all of our children. They see value in every child. They see a precious gift in every child. And so it's just gratifying. Their ideas, there's so many ideas and things they've done over the years. I can't even, it's everything you can imagine. They're responding to the needs of their community. in the best ways they know how at all times. I
Mhm.
always tell them, you know, you don't have to tell me. I know you're doing your best. I know they're doing their best
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
the time. That's who we are.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Um, if I may recall one time, I remember one time they did something with a garden at Kilmore School, right? Yeah, I remember that was after the pandemic and they were working on some beautification or gardening. Can't really remember what it was, but yeah, I remember that very well.
That's absolutely right. You know, they think our children deserve the very best of everything, you know.
Mhm.
So to be in a beautiful environment, you know, things that make them thrive and excited about being in school, those are the
Mhm.
things our parents are thinking about all the time.
Yeah. And also the immense amount of work they did during the pandemic. I mean, we can never forget that, like, like just helping and making sure everyone is okay. Yeah, that was
Yes,
amazing.
yes. So much work. And they really haven't fallen off like the rest of the world. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
I think they take that to heart. You know,
Mm,
someone
mm.
shares their concern and they can meet it somehow, they're going to do it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's my experience with them too. And that's beautiful. That's so beautiful. So do you think all of this work is what inspire you to decide to run for the school board? Can you
It
say
was a,
that? Yeah.
it was a big part of the puzzle, Iyabo. You know, everybody with a full-time job can't run for elected office. You have to be able to delegate because you have to step back. You can't do all the things. You have to, you know, work in a place that's going to have understanding and support and give you grace because your life is changing significantly and you have to show up in so many other ways. And so I think delegation was such a great learning for me. Trusting other people is always going to be important to our movement, and sharing with each other, being vulnerable with each other about what's difficult, what we need. I think that, you know, parent mentor program has shown me a lot over the years about those things. You know, we're concerned about each other. We know that the work is hard. We know that we don't just leave it at the end of the day. We're still concerned about the people in our community. We're still concerned about the families that don't have what they need. We're still concerned about the resources in our school buildings, right? And so we don't really rest. And I'm just surrounded by so many people that are like me, that I'm like, and that understand that as long as we're working hard and doing our best, it's always going to be enough because we don't have to do it all on our own.
That is so true, Ebony. So true. Thank you. So now that you are going to be a member of the school board, woohoo, tell us what exactly does the role entail, and how do you plan to play this role? Like, like what are you thinking about, like you want to accomplish when you are finally sworn in January?
Yeah, those are very big questions. You know, I'll be responsible for budget choices, school policies. I'll be responsible for who our vendors are. And there's a lot of big decisions that need to be made in terms of budget, in terms of resources. I would like to bring more equity to our public school system. We know that many schools have lots and many schools have very little, and I think we can do a lot about that. I would love to see every neighborhood school fully funded, well-resourced. That's what I had over 30 years ago. I'm sure it's possible now. We might have to be creative. It might not happen overnight, but I'll need the support of my community in order to figure out what our priorities are. And I'll need the grace and understanding that this mess wasn't made in a day and it won't be fixed in a week. This is going to take time. I'm going to need the will of the people with me. I'm going to need us to, in organizing, we say the squeaky wheel gets the oil, right? And so we're going to have to make some noise. We're going to have to go to Springfield. We're going to have to write some letters. We're going to have to do some stuff together. And I need you all with me in that. I think that it's really important to me that I try my best to get in good relationship with the other folks on the board so that we can come to some understanding so that we can really make some things happen. Do I want to be right or do I want to be in right relationship, right? I mean, the parent mentor program has taught me more about that kind of thing than I ever thought imagined, because we get the chance to interact with people with all kinds of experiences, and it's an opportunity to just be understood among so many people with different life experiences and life just varied ideas and judgments and facts and all kinds of things, right? We come together and with the understanding that we're not going to disrespect each other, we're not going to oppress each other, right? And that we don't have to agree on everything, but there's a way to work together. There are things we're gonna agree on, so let's just start there. And that's about getting in relationship with people, and that's about trying to figure out what we can do together, how we can work together. And that's really important work. So I think I bring some experience for that, and I'm grateful for it.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Thank you, Ebony. That's so amazing because when you are talking, in my brain, I'm just thinking about the divisiveness that is everywhere, including our city, and just with everything that happened before the election, and and then I'm thinking all of these people have to work together. And I'm like, I need to ask everybody, are you prepared for that? But your answer tells me you're already thinking like I'm going to be working with people that I might disagree with, but I'm going to build relationship and, we're going to work something together. We're going to win, by just listening and learning and, not being dismissive, even though if our ideas don't kind of like align or totally like in agreement, but we can work together. I love that. I love that you're already prepared for that because that's gonna happen. That's the world we seem to be living in right now. Like even that something you look at, you're like, this is so simple, but at the end of the day, it's not. It's not because people have different values, different experiences, like you said. I love that you kept referring to that. It's their experience, they live it, and they can disagree because yeah, like that's your experience, that's not ours. So for that reason, we disagree. But I'm glad you're already prepared for all of that. And like you said, this program, the parental program, already prepare you for that too. So I'm very happy and can't wait to see what you're gonna do with all of that. Um, so this is the last question, so to say. I know because we are friends in the community, we work together, we are also friends, and I know your son supported you. Every time I receive a flyer in my house, I saw a picture of you and your son, and I was so proud. Can you tell me a little more about the kind of support you receive from your son, and also post-election, how is he feeling about you and the whole process?
Yes, yes. So my son is one of my first believers. I think when we when we won the elected school board, I believe he said, "Mom, you should run for that." And I wasn't really thinking about it at that time. I actually was looking for other people who were going to run. I'm like, okay, we'll find somebody we trust. But my son is a huge supporter. He's done everything in my campaign, from being my scheduler to being my body man to knocking doors with me to collecting signatures, emailing on my behalf, building my website, working on my social media. My son is brilliant. He's highly motivated, right? He loves the community. He's waiting for his opportunity to serve, right? And so, and then just raising him amongst community that really cares and sows into each other makes a huge difference in how he prioritizes his time and his life. He actually took the semester off from school. He's in college to help me with my campaign. And now that I'm on the other side of the campaign, I know I could not have won it without him. He was crucial, especially to the early part of my campaign and all the way to the end. The amount of doors that I had to knock weekly was not in my range. I'm not a young person. I'm not in the best health, and so I needed him out there with me every day. And every day I was reminded that it's so necessary to connect with these neighbors. This is the only way we're going to win. This is how we get the edge over the other campaigns, is the face-to-face contact. And when my son told people my mom is running for public office, their eyes and their ears opened wide up. He's the best messenger I have. No one knows me better. No one can speak in my voice better. And so when I realized that I had won, I think part of my acceptance speech was, get a son like mine. You know what I mean? I'm so proud of my son, right? And, I think school is not the only place our young people can learn, right? I think he learned so much. I had other folks offering him jobs. I'm like, no, he needs to go back to school. He needs and he was working while he was doing all this for me, and so it's been an incredible experience. We've spent more time together than we have in years. So, that was so precious to me, and he carried a lot of my anxiety and kept me away from a lot of the details that I didn't necessarily need to know. I needed to be strong and productive every day. And you never know what that's going to entail until you start, figuring out that maybe you don't need to know about this thing. Maybe you don't need to hear about these changing attitudes and budget issues and, social media things. You have to trust other folks. And, I trust him so much. So that it was just a natural thing. And when he's ready to run for public office, I'll be there for him in the same capacity,
Absolutely. Oh, wow. I'm so impressed. Just here listening to this, I'm just inspired, by his knowledge and his, how responsible you brought him up to be. And, to some of the points you make, I'm like, yeah, heck yeah, it takes a village, right? You raised him in the community and he's recognizing that and the love that he received, he needs to put back, and he's doing it already, even when he has not graduated. So I'm going to say that's another congratulations to you, Ebony, for even having that support from your son, right?
Thank you,
So
yes.
wow, thank you so much, Ebony. And I'm just going to ask you if you have any other thing you want to add before we wrap this up. Would be great. Like anything you want to say in general.
Yes, I would really like to see more of us run for public office. I think we're magnificent people that should be in office. I think that we care about relationships. We care about hearing from people and trying to work directly off of their experience and their knowledge. we easily share responsibility and credit, and we get things done. We get things done. And so I just hope that I am inspiring others involved in the Parent Mentor Program to lead in any capacity you find is your path. We are meant to lead. We are meant to be at the table where the decisions are made. We are meant to have the power. We are meant to empower. Okay? This is the thing we do.
It's so true. Yeah. Yeah. Amazing. Thank you so much, Ebony.
Thank you, Iyabo. This was so good. It's good to reflect and talk about the experience, right? I'm so grateful for the experience because I would have never known how loved I am, how supported I am, how understood I am if I had not gone through this experience. So
yeah,
I want to encourage others to try it.